when it comes to what's happening here in Canada and around the world. Well, starting here in Toronto, well, we heard statistics from the Toronto police that were quite significant, things that were speculated for quite some time from when it comes to advocacy groups and protesters, but the data is quite alarming that there was data studied for identity and race when it comes to 2020 with police coming into contact with cases where they're called to incidents of crime. And it's shocking to know when it comes to use of police force and strip searches, what it means for when it comes to race and identity. Well, it seems that according to the data that the Toronto Police Chief Raymer announced just a few days ago, that people of color were 1.2 to 1.6 times more likely to face violence when interacting with Toronto police in 2020, and Black residents were more likely to have a police officer point a firearm at them when they appeared to be unarmed compared to white people, according to the new data. Well, that means a lot of things, and what that now the police are being called for defunding, essentially based on the statistics that have been released earlier this year. Desmond Cole from No Pride in Policing Coalition said that instead of assurances that the police will do better in the future, according to the data that was released, the group has been asking for a political solution, and the political solution that they're seeking is that they want Toronto Mayor and Council to essentially defund the police and to vote for that. This was something that was proposed back in 2020, where two Toronto councillors introduced a motion to cut the police force budget by 10%, which would be about $107 million, to use that money for community services. This was, the motion was rejected in favor of a series of reforms to propose, which was proposed by the mayor and council, that included anti-racism measures and implementation of body-worn cameras as a result. But this was followed by the movement that happened for Black Lives Matter when we saw the images of George Floyd, a Black man from Minneapolis' death when he was arrested by police officers. And then shortly after, just weeks after, in Toronto, when a 29-year-old woman, Regis Konczynski-Paquette, a Black woman who fell from her balcony when police came into her home. And that prompted protests all throughout Toronto and other cities. And that was when the call to defund the police was made. So we're going to follow up on this story as advocacy groups are calling for to defund the police. And this is something that's big news, and it'll continue throughout, I believe, in the next month and throughout the summer months. And we'll bring that to you.